Hello, hi. So, my name is Varun and I'll be doing a small video on this car today. I hope you are doing good. So, I think I'll just start with the video now. So, what are we painting as a cow today over here? As you can see, I'll show you my reference photo over here as well. So, this is what I've selected to paint. This is a very good reference photo where we are having a very good light and shadow over here, and we need to capture that thing perfectly. So, let's just hop in it, and we'll try to have a very good kind of gradation of light and shade over here. You can see there's a good amount of contrast of light and shade in this. Like if you see over here, there's a good contrast, so we'll try to maintain that over that maybe we can increase the contrast, so that will make the painting a little bit more lively. So let's just hop on it. I'm gonna go with couple of layers. Let me grab a paper. I'll just show you like with a quick example here. Yeah, like for an example over here, we're gonna paint the cow. So for the cow, in the first layer especially, you're not gonna use a lot of colors. The first layer is just for a base color. You just add a base color to avoid the whiteness of the paper, or just to have a good depth in the painting when you paint later on. So for the first layer, you're simply going to use this. I'm using all the colors over here. This is French ultramarine blue. These are the major colors which I use in all of my painting. So mostly I'll be using, for the first layer, this is the color which I use a lot. This is Naples yellow color. So I'll be taking a little bit of Naples yellow here. I'll be using Naples yellow, and this color, or maybe a little bit of orange color. This is permanent orange from Daniel Smith. So a little bit of orange at some places. See this over here. So this is what I'm gonna use mostly for the first layer. Then for the shadows, you can use French ultramarine blue. You can use some French ultramarine blue like this. We've got a little bit of sepia color, and this is one of my favorite color, sepia. It's a very good color. So what I'm doing over here is actually I'm just making a mixture beforehand before I start the painting. So this will be quite easy when I start painting later on. A little bit of sepia. So I think I'll just start with the first layer. Later on, I can give you a little bit more detailed in other videos. Now, for this one, I'm just gonna start with the video quickly. So moving further, the first thing we just have to remember that it's the first layer, and we are taking very light colors. You don't have to mix a lot of different colors to make the color dirty. What I do is I try to keep the colors fresh as much as possible. So this is what I'm gonna do over here as well. So in the first layer, I'm going to take a lot of water with me, just a lot of water. If you're taking a lot of water, you're gonna get very fresh colors. So that's what I'm gonna do over here as well. It's the first layer. So what I'll be doing is I'll be simply wetting this body of the cow over here with a clean water. Like that. So I'm wetting it because I need to have a very good gradation, because this cow is a white body color. The body color is white, so we can't leave everywhere white. So we can't use yellow everywhere as well. So by having a wet surface, we can leave some surface white, and we can use some colors as well. So after just wetting this much, I'm gonna take this light Naples over here, which I've already made, and I'm gonna go over here very lightly. See, I can use a little bit over here as well. You can have a very good variation in the first layer, because now the surface is wet. You have a very good freedom that you can use the colors and all perfectly. Now you just need to make sure that you're not using a lot of water, because the surface is already wet, and if you take more water over that, it will just completely overflow. So what we have to put attention over here is we're not taking a lot of water in our brush. So like that, something very loosely like that. A little bit of yellow here as well. Watercolor is a transparent medium, so we go from light to dark. So we're using all the light colors firstly, and then shadows part, the shadows color, the darker colors we're gonna paint later. In oils we go opposite, we go dark to light, and in watercolor we go light to dark. Like that. A little bit of orange as well. So I'm using mostly all the bright colors what I can use right now. I'm using Fabriano paper, Fabriano aquarelle, and this is Praful Sawant's signature brushes. It's a good hair. I love these brushes. So by just having a little bit of water in a brush and a very light color, like that. Simply, that's our first layer. We don't have to do a lot of work in the first layer. First layer is always, it's very simple. Now if you just want to have more dynamics, and maybe if you want to have a little bit more realism effect, we can add a little bit of grayish color in the lighter area. Now I'm adding the more colors to the lighter area because later in future we're not going to work over there, because we're gonna work in the shadows. We're going to add dark colors, but we're gonna leave light colors just like that. So it's better to add a little bit of more colors somewhere. Like I'm using some blue. This is cerulean blue here, and very lightly I'll mix some gray color in it. I'll remove the water firstly. I think that's the main thing, because the surface is already wet, and if I take water it will spread, and I don't want my color to spread over here. So randomly, just a little bit at some places, you can use a little bit of that grayish tone, so that is going to give you a little bit more realistic effect, something like that. See, now the colors are blending very well because the surface is still wet. If the surface would have got dried over here, it would be just, you'll be getting patches over there. So you need to make sure that surface is still wet when you're working on this. A little bit of orange color, like that. See, now that's all for the first layer. Now meanwhile that first layer is drying, we can work on the background a little bit. Like we don't have to use, of course, a lot of colors and everything. I'll just go with a little bit of grayish tone. I wouldn't have done background right now because I think we're just focusing on the cow, but meanwhile that area is drying, we can just work on it a little bit. So if you want to have a very simple and a very good flow of colors and a bit of variation as well, what I would recommend is, again, come to Naples yellow and take a lot of water in it. So what I'll do is, here I'm gonna take the same Naples like that, and I'm gonna just use this Naples over here. You can use a little bit bigger brushes as well, you know. Now over it, now this Naples yellow has got a very good base. Now over it, if I use the color, it's gonna have a different kind of glow, and this is one of my best technique I use in my every painting. I use a lighter color as a base, and over that I flow other colors, so that gives you a very good flow. Now you can just have a look. Now I want to have a little bit of violetous, I mean a kind of grayish blue color kind of stuff, so I'm gonna have French ultramarine blue. I'll mix a little bit of pink color, which is, I think this is a rose madder or something. I'll tell you later. So what I've got is a little bit of purplish color, as you can see, a little bit of water in it, and I'm gonna go over it, all over it again. See, now the colors are blending quite well. Don't go over the horns over here, and simply like that, you can see how perfectly that colors are blending over there, and that is actually much more better than just using violet, that same color. Now this has got a very good variation in colors. Now we can show the distance that the sky is going far away from there. The surface might not have dried yet though, but still I'm working on it. like that. Well, this is another cow standing over here. We wouldn't mind painting that because that is going to be in dark color. We can easily overlap that later on. Like that. Now, if you'd want, we can add a little bit of, some land color and the brown kind of stuff there. Some dry grasses and some greenery. I'm gonna have this yellow ochre, a little bit dark than the body of that cow, so that we can have a good contrast again. So this is a little bit of yellow ochre. Now as you can see, I'm trying to have a little bit dark color so I can have a little bit of contrast between the body and the ground over here. As you can see, very lightly, I'm gonna go over it. With way less water. I just don't want to do a lot of detailing, so I'm gonna kind of fade that while coming down there. And lastly, a little bit of green colors. Like what I'm gonna have is sap green. I'm gonna mix it with yellow ochre. Again, a little bit of water to go with. And very boldly and with quite fresh colors without much of a detailing, in a very simple way. Just go over it. See how boldly I'm using my brush strokes. I won't say that you have to use very bold strokes and all to achieve a good painting. I mean, however you're comfortable with, but using this brush just gives you more option to play with. I mean, you have your hand free, just move your brush accordingly. Like that. And that's our first layer. Cheap, simple it is. What we have used is all the basic colors, and we have just covered almost everything in this. Like that, a bit of dry brushing maybe. I don't want to paint everywhere. It's not important that you have to cover each and every part of the paper. You can leave some places between the legs here. Yeah, I'll go till there. And this is what we call a very good fresh first layer. Now once the paper is dried, it is almost dried, I'll just wait for one last minute. Once the paper is dried, we can just start with the second layer, and in that we have to play with the shadows and all that stuff. So I'm gonna, yeah, and this is a very important step. So most of you, what you do that you just start directly with the with any of the things actually. Firstly, what you have to do is let the paper dry completely. We're not gonna touch before the paper is completely dried. What you can do in this meantime, you can plan out the colors what are you going to use in the second layer, like here the shadows and all that, which is a very important part in this painting. You have to plan out the colors. Maybe you can have a very quick testing of colors in the other paper and all that, but don't start with the painting before the paper is dried.